السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله. Respected brothers and elders, mothers and sisters in Islam, we are grateful, we are thankful to the blessings and bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our lives. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase for all of us. May He keep us in the company of the righteous in this world. May He raise us amongst the righteous on the day of Qiyamah. May He fill our lives with rahmah and mercy. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Brothers and sisters, I begin most of my talks with these statements to remind us that how important shukr is. Even in the most difficult of the conditions, there has to be continuous shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our mother of the believers, al-Mu'mineen Aisha radiyallahu anha, mentions, and she says that the amal or the action of a mu'min is khair, meaning good for them at all moments. If they have something good in their life, they are thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when they have difficulty from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are shakireen, meaning they still do shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So indeed, this is a time for all of us that the conditions and situations every single day that we are seeing are becoming more difficult than the other. And I wanted to share with you today in a short video on the importance of this very hadith of Rasulullah where he mentioned to us the power of dua. And I want to read this hadith to you and I share this with you. This hadith has been reported as authentic. This hadith is from Sunan Ibn Majah. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned, the hadith is reported by Thawban radiyallahu anhu, and I love this hadith, and especially in this very difficult time, I want to read this hadith to you. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned and he reported that Thawban radiyallahu anhu said that the Prophet ﷺ said that nothing increases one's lifespan except for one's good deeds. And I'll explain all of this in just a moment. That nothing increases one's lifespan except for good deeds. And nothing repels the divine decree, the qadr, except for dua. And verily, a person may be deprived from sustenance due to a sin that he or she has committed. Three things Rasulullah ﷺ talked about in this hadith. We don't have time to discuss all the details, but quickly I want to run over the 2 points and explain the third major point, and that is dua. So the first thing Rasulullah ﷺ said, that nothing increases the life of a person except good deeds. What does that actually mean? We already know that our destiny or our taqdeer or our time or our life or our death has already been written. According to the hadith of Rasulullah ﷺ, your death is destined before you even come on this world. The Prophet ﷺ said, when a child is in the womb of the mother, few things are decreed for that person, and one is ajal, which means the time of death. So what does it mean by this hadith that nothing can increase one's lifespan except for good deeds? Ulama have mentioned that doesn't mean the literal years. It's not like 65 turning into 70 or 70 becoming 73. No, it means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you so much barakah and so much blessing in your time and in your life that you will be able to accomplish so much that people won't be able to do in years to come. You must have heard of the famous shuyukh like the Imam who wrote the Kitab Sahih Muslim, or Imam who wrote the Kitab Riyadus Salihin. These individuals live in their mid-40s, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took such great works from these individuals that their books and their works are still being used, and people remember them in good words till today. So when it says that nothing can increase your lifespan except for good deeds, doesn't mean that you will be given few more years in your life, but it means you'll be given barakah and blessings in your life. You will be able to accomplish in your 20s and your 30s that people may not be accomplished in their 50s and 60s. Or what Allah will give you in your 50s and 60s, people won't be able to get in their 70s and 80s. So which means that there is barakah. That's number one opinion. Second thing ulama have mentioned is that if you are not able to accomplish what you want in your life, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you a good progeny, your awlad, your children, your boys, your girls, your progeny, who will keep up your name and they will do the righteous deeds. And you will be remembered through your children. People will say that's the son or the daughter of Fulan and Fulan, and they're doing all these good deeds. So your life is increased not by numbers, by the virtue or your remembrance. That even though you may not be on the face of this earth, but people will remember you on the face of this earth. So the hadith mentioned, Sauban radiallahu anhu mentioned three things. Nothing can increase your life except for good deeds, which doesn't mean numbers, but it refers to the barakah, the blessings, the productiveness, or even your progeny doing the right deeds. And not only that, if you don't have progeny, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept you in this world, which He mentions, He gives sons to whoever He wishes, He gives daughters to whoever He wishes, He gives sons and daughters to whoever He wishes, and He doesn't give awlad to some. And if this is the case for some of us, then in that case, the hadith mentions that people will remember you in good words. You will not be there, but your life, meaning your words, will be alive in the minds of people. The second portion of this hadith is the reason why I wanted to share this hadith with you. The Prophet ﷺ said, nothing repels divine decree except for dua. And this is the main point of the hadith today. And what does this actually mean? That nothing can change taqdeer except for dua. Brothers and sisters, dua is one of the most powerful tools that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given a mu'min, a believer, a believing man and a believing woman. And the Prophet ﷺ taught us this method of asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the dua. And I was reading the prophetic seerah of the Prophet ﷺ. There are 2 times in his life that Rasulullah ﷺ made dua while his hands were towards the heavens like this. His hands were raised towards the heavens, and he was making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 2 times in his entire life. One was the day of Badr, when he was saying, oh Allah, I brought in front of you these 313 people. They have nothing to wear. They have nothing to wear as shoes, nothing to clothe their bodies, nothing to protect. But oh Allah, if they do not remain, there will be no one to say your name till the day of Qiyamah. And Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu said, at that moment, I saw a smile on the face of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he said, I saw Jibreel alayhi salam. Rasulullah said, I saw Jibreel alayhi salam. He came with the army of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the angels on the day of Badr. And the second time he prayed while his hands were towards the heaven was the day of Arafah, the day that he performed his final Hajj. And he cried for the Ummah for hours and hours. If you estimate, approximately 5 to 6 hours of continuous crying for the Ummah of the Prophet ﷺ. So dua is one of the most powerful tools that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. Brothers and sisters, in this trying and very difficult time that all of us are facing, I humbly request you, with all the precautions that we are taking, social distancing that we are doing, staying within our own homes, washing hands, and doing whatever we are doing that we need to, brothers and sisters, spend some time every day or sometimes during the night and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send his rahmah on the ummah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I want to share with you a quick story, and I'll end with that story, because I promised that I wasn't going to make these videos very, very long. So I want to share with you a quick story. I shared this story last year in the Islamic Center of Long Island, ICLI, which I'm a part of, in Ramadan. And I shared that story with the people by saying that one of these great scholars in Islam, who is a good friend of mine, he mentioned a story, and I share his story with you. He said that there was a doctor in Pakistan, and he was one of the most elite, most specialized, most honored doctor of his career. He mentioned his story to the Imam of Mecca, and he said that one day something happened in my life that changed everything. So he came to the Imam of Haram and he said that I'm the most wanted or looked after physician in the entire Pakistan because of the speciality that Allah has blessed me with. So he said that I was in a plane flying from one city to another city. Well, in the middle of our plane ride, our plane was struck with lightning and the plane wasn't able to function anymore. So the pilot took the early landing to the closest airport, and he says, I'm sorry, we need to wait. The plane needs to get fixed and we'll go further. He said, we waited for a few hours, but nothing happened. So the pilot suggested that if you need to get to your operation, you need to get to see your patient, you can take the car, which is only a few hours away, sit in the car, drive, and get to that location in a few hours. So he said, I took the taxi. I did not wait for the plane to get fixed because the ride was almost halfway done. I sat in a taxi. I started going. And in the middle of our taxi ride, there was a huge storm that came. And that storm became so much that the car was unable to move. The mud on the roads was so much that our car became stuck. The rain was there. And the taxi driver said, I'm sorry, I can't move further. He says, where our car stopped, he said, we were there for a few moments and I saw that there was no one except for this one house that I saw a light inside. He said, I came off the car. I went to the door. I knocked the door, seeing that, if someone can help us. He said, I saw an old lady open this door and she was in very fatigued, very difficult, bad condition. I asked Amma Jan, oh my mother, can I come inside? I need to make wudu so I can make my salah. I'm stuck outside. I need to get somewhere. So she said, of course, son, you can come inside. So he said, I went inside. The driver came. We made wudu. We made salah. We're waiting for the rain to stop. And he said, when the rain stopped, I was about to leave. I asked this old grandma, and I said that I see you sitting on this musalla, or this janimaz, as we say, musalla, and there's a child next to you on this, little bed. Who's this little child all covered up in a blanket? And who are you? What are you doing at this moment? So this lady said that, this child who is on the bed is my grandchild. And both his mother and father has passed away. So he's a yatim. And I, being the grandmother, take care of this child. And every single day, I take care of this child, and he has fallen sick a few months ago. So I took him to the local clinic. I asked the doctors, can you take us and can you help us? So they say that the case is so severe that we can't handle it. So I took this child to a bigger hospital nearby, and they said that we are unable to help you as well. But there's only one doctor who lives far away in a different city who is capable enough to help you in this very condition. But he's so busy that for months and months, you won't be able to book him. And he's so expensive that I don't even think that you will be able to afford this doctor. So the doctor, he said, I asked that old lady, my mother, what's the name of that doctor? And she says his name is Dr. Ishan. And that man who's telling the story is that same person who said, I cried so loudly standing in the house of that old lady. And I said, my mother, I am that Dr. Ishan. And it was your dua that you made in this house, which made the lightning struck and made that airplane land near this airport. And it was your dua that made that rain so much from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's treasure that my car couldn't move and stopped right in front of your door. And it was your dua that made me walk to your door and knock your door and come to your house. And he himself was crying and he's saying, that's the day I realized the power of dua. Brothers and sisters, I ask you humbly, this is the time that we come towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we reflect and we ponder over our dua. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the strength that we all need. It is so important for all of us, brothers and sisters, to be involved in making dua. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to strengthen our hearts so that we can ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for our needs. I'll finish off with these two last points and I'm done before if someone has any questions. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, dua of my ummah is accepted so long as he or she doesn't say Allah doesn't listen to me. So please don't lose hope. Don't think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not listening to you. He is listening to us and he will accept our prayers. So our dua is accepted so long as we don't say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't listen to us. Never lose hope, number one. The last point is, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned to us and he said that when a person makes dua, dua is accepted in three categories. Number one, you are given exactly what you're asking for. You ask for something and Allah gives you and that's it. You got it. Alhamdulillah. Number two, you asked for something, but you didn't get that. But in exchange, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uplifted a calamity, a difficulty, a problem from your life that was destined for you. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removed that difficulty in exchange of that dua not being accepted. You don't even realize, but some difficulty was removed, but you were not given that dua, but it's still accepted. And third, Rasulullah said, nor you are given that thing that you are asking for. Secondly, nor a difficulty is uplifted, but on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will call his abd, his servant, man or woman, and say, you asked for this dua, did you get it? He or she will say, no, Ya Rab, I didn't get it. Was any difficulty removed in exchange for that? Ya Allah, I don't remember. I don't think so. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, in exchange of that dua, this is your ajr. This is your compensation. And the hadith of Rasulullah said, a person, a man or woman, will hope or wish that, oh Allah, I wish none of my prayers were accepted because of the exchange of reward that Allah is giving them on the day of Qiyamah. Which means, brothers and sisters, all of your dua are accepted. Either Allah gives you right away, either Allah takes your difficulty away, or either Allah will give you that on the day of Qiyamah. So more than ever, I humbly request you, start with 5 minutes, then slowly increase every day. There should be no one except for you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for your needs, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send His rahmah and His mercy upon all of us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our dua. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our prayers. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send His rahmah and His mercy upon each and every one of us. Inshallah, we're hoping to schedule a collective dua in a few days as well. We're trying to gather all of our imams of Long Island and have a collective session where we can make dua for the entire ummah in large, our community in Long Island, our brothers and sisters in New York, the entire US, the entire globe, wherever we are one millah, we're one nation, we're one ummah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send His rahmah upon all of us, protect us, and allow us to follow the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, in future, we will also ask brothers and sisters if they would also want to ask questions as well. We'll open up the platform for questions and answers as well. We're also gathering a few panel imams every single day to do a live session of Q&A with our local imams as well. So our entire community feels connected. No one feels isolated. And inshallah, as one of the brothers mentioned so beautifully, he said that social distancing doesn't mean spiritual distancing. We're not spiritually distancing from one another. That spirituality should remain up. The spirit should remain up. We may not, and it hurts me to say this, that we may not see our Ramadan as it's supposed to be this year, like we are used to seeing every single year. But brothers and sisters, that doesn't mean that the rahmah of Allah will not be there for us in Ramadan. That doesn't mean that we cannot benefit from our fasting, from our Quran, our tasbih, our Quran. All of that will still remain. We may not be collectively together in many of the masjids, but the spirit of Ramadan must be built. We are almost a month away from the blessed month of Ramadan. Our Nabi, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, would cry to reach the month of Ramadan. So let's keep our dua strong, let's keep our hopes up, and keep ourselves connected, inshallah, and let's increase in our spirituality, and let these moments be a means of us finding the closeness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask you to make dua for all of us. And inshallah, we'll definitely make dua for all of you as well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept this behalf of all of us and allow us to live our life according to the Quran and Sunnah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.